Hello, beautiful people. This is urAJ speaking. I'm urAJ. That means that when I play video games, it's not for my own benefit or enjoyment. I do it for you. It's a labor of love, and yeah, that's why I'm here. It's definitely not because.
Pleasant evening. Another day almost behind us, eh, Henry?
It seems so. For now.
Let's hope it stays that way.
All right. Yeah. What the hell was I saying? Yeah. So I'm in real life. I'm kind of struggling, but I can game. That's what I'm gonna do though. So let's see. Let's see what these not random, but these people have to say.
I heard you fought in the Battle of Kosovo. Is that true?
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I'd hate to fall for one of your jokes. And I know you talk a lot when you're drunk.
True enough. And I'm drunk a lot. That's true too. But as St. Killian is my witness, it's true I was on the field of Kosovo, and I fought there. And I was quite sober.
So how did it happen? Tell me. I don't think I can quite imagine such a massive battle. How many soldiers were there?
Countless, lad. I've never seen so many take the field. At least 10,000 men on our side. And Sultan Murad must have had at least twice as many with him.
So how did the battle go?
And Lord forgive me, but it went to shit.
Could you be more specific?
Specific? Well, I only know what people said after the battle. When you're in the midst of it, you don't see what's happening around you.
Which was?
Well, it's hard to describe. Attacks are followed by retreats, and between that, only fatigue and dust.
So what happened?
When the battle began, the Serbian cavalry crushed the Turkish left flank. It looked good for us, but alas, that was just the beginning. Soon, we got ours too. We fought valiantly, but they pushed us back, and in the meantime, they hit our center. The Sultan's Janissaries attacked us there. Damn devils, and raised all hell. Rivers of blood soaked the ground.
How could you survive something like that?
You can't give up, and death isn't an option. But then a rumor spread that Prince Lazar had fallen, and everything began to crumble. But he was a tough old warrior of the Nemanjic royal blood. He wouldn't give up just like that. With an arrow in his eye, he climbed his horse and rode straight for the Sultan. That's how he saved us. The battle then lasted until evening. But no one had the strength to force the enemy to retreat.
And where did you fight?
Or in the saddle. I'm a nobleman, after all. But I lost 3 horses under me. So in the end, I also fought on foot. Most of us mercenaries were on the left flank, under the command of Vlatko Vukovic. But he soon got wounded, and the men began to flee. I mean, if it wasn't for Nicholas Gabriel, we wouldn't be talking here today.
And who was that?
The commander of our company. A born warrior, and a good friend. In fact, Zizka reminds me of him a bit sometimes. In any case, the fact that Gabriel had taken a command at that point meant our flank did not buckle, and the Ottoman rabble did not cut us to pieces as we fled.
So who won in the end?
The battle lasted all day, and in the end no one knew who had won, because both sides left the field. Only later did we find out. Prince Lazar had fallen there alongside all his Serbian nobility. Still later came the news that Lazar had been captured and executed by the Turks the day after the battle.
They executed a prince?
Aye. They beheaded him, because someone had slit their sultan's throat like a piglet.
So you didn't win?
It's hard to say. We held our own against the odds and survived. Only without their prince, it was just a matter of time before Serbia fell into the new Ottoman Sultan's lap. Fortunately, I didn't stick around to see it. All the same, even as I'm telling it, I suppose time heals all kinds of shit. In the end, you forget the bad things. And yet, I can only thank God that Nicholas Gabriel was there.
Your captain?
Aye, him. We actually became friends.
He did?
Aye, really. A memory of the good...
Please show me that.
I'd be glad to, my...
Oh, crap. I didn't realize I was missing one. Oh, nice. Flying tankards.
Christ! Pardon me.
Alright, let me check the chat, see if anybody's in here. Because, I don't know, kind of feel like doing main quest stuff. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Alright. Nobody's in the chat on YouTube. Check on Twitch. Let's see what we got left for the freaking day here. Oh yeah, I guess I'll just talk to people more.
And a good evening to you too, Devil.
It'll be good once I've had a skinful.
I can talk to your brother now. Alright, so Shishka's the one you talk to advance the plot. Cool.
Henry, you have no idea how glad I am to see you alive and all in one piece. I was really worried about you. I prayed to Our Lady the Protector to watch over you in Kuttenberg. It's good she heard my pleas.
Thanks for putting in a good word. It definitely came in handy, because it wasn't nice at all. Lots of violence and death, countless foes. We could have easily kicked the bucket any moment.
God damn! What happened there?
I don't know if words are enough. Simply... it was just like Scalis. Confusion, screaming, dying, and then the flames. The worst part came when the gate fell. It was as if the bloody gates of perdition opened for a moment, and hell surged into the world.
God protect us! God damn it! I should have gone there too. I could have been some use at least.
I'm always glad to fight by your side, but you wouldn't have changed anything there. There were too many of them. And when the whole street was thronged, there was no stopping it. All we could do was try to hold back Eric's people as long as possible, so the locals could flee to the synagogue. See, there's a hidden tunnel inside it, leading out of the city.
Fucking tunnels! Ugh. But thank Christ for them. What about Liechtenstein?
He's fine. And he managed to get those mysterious documents of his out. He left with the survivors for Colleen.
Praise God. He's from an old and glorious house. It'd be a dreadful pity if he got left behind. The main thing is you got out. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to thank you properly for coming to Malashov for me.
Well, we can easily rectify that here and now.
That's exactly what I intend to do, my brave and faithful companion. First and foremost, be it known that if you should ever similarly find yourself in captivity, I swear before our Lord Jesus Christ that I shall come for you as you came for me. And secondly, I have something here for you. A truly knightly reward for your
give me your
knightly
knightly
deed.
reward.
A hunting bow that has no equal in the
Oh,
province. I hope it'll brighten your thoughts after all those horrors. It can fell the mightiest buck deer and enchant many a doe. And besides, it has attached to it an enlightening history.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you, friend.
Just a moment. This bow looks familiar.
I believe I saw it among Margrave Yob's things.
Good heavens. You really don't miss anything, do you? When I found out that Yobs would gladly leave me locked up, it got my blood up. So, to pay him back, I relieved him of the bow in Rabosh, and it was immediately clear to me that that bow should go to none other than you.
All right.
That is certainly just, I'd say.
I knew we'd see eye to eye. It'd be great to try that bow out right away. We could ride out together on the hunt. Wine, bacon, wine.
We only went hunting together once.
Yeah, but it was mem. Don't tell me you wouldn't like. But first duty, then some...
Oh yeah, let's go hunting.
Sir Vaculin, you've had an exciting life. Tell me some stories.
Bien sûr. Your interest is gratifying and quite understandable.
Where does the name Brabant come from?
That is simple. My compatriots call me that because I am originally from Brabant province. And the name stuck. One day, I shall tell you about my place of birth, but I am sure you will long to hear about the conquest of Arezzo, yes? Or would you rather hear how I saved the King of France from certain death?
Thanks for sharing.
Hold on. Let's role play this here. Yeah, let's take a seat.
Sir,
Yes.
Arezzo sounds interesting.
And so it was. That is where I earned my knighthood from the great Enguerrand de Concy himself, the commander of our Naples campaign. Enguerrand arranged his forces for battle, and I was put in charge of one of the cavalry units. Out of nowhere, the enemy appeared on our unprotected flank, and Enguerrand set me to hold them back so our main force could regroup. But I saw a gap in the enemy's main phalanx. I sounded the charge and sped forward.
Wasn't that rather risky?
Un chevalier français fears nothing.
I reckon King Sigismund would think otherwise after Constantinople.
That was completely different. Alors, I caught them by surprise. I hacked my way to their standard and broke through all the way to the enemy's reserves. My attack sowed confusions in the enemy's ranks that encouraged the overlords who raced to join me, scattering everything in their path. And that is how we won the famous victory at Arezzo. Seeing that the force that was supposed to protect them had been routed. The city then surrendered to us. No doubt you had no inkling at Maleshov what a knight you had the honor to meet. And of course my feats on the field of battle do not end there.
An unusual maneuver.
A bold maneuver.
Quite right. Courage is my middle name. Just as Monsieur Chapon says, Audantes Fortuna Juva. That day I was the bravest of them all and won the day.
So you disobeyed your commander and left your flank exposed. Your attack could have ended in a total fiasco. You were lucky the others came to your assistance and your entire force didn't collapse.
I hear thee speaking, but you are still way behind the ears. So, I can forgive you. In short, I saw an opportunity and took it. Moments like that can decide entire wars.
What did your commander have to say?
He made me a knight and sent me to the royal court to inform the sovereign of our triumph.
I reckon he wanted to get you out of his hair.
Do not talk nonsense.
What other feats have you performed in battle?
Oh, many, mon ami. For one battle does not make a warrior. It would take a week to recount them all, so I will just tell you about my second greatest feat. On the Italian field, we faced John Hawkwood, a ruthless Englishman and a fearsome warrior. Surrounded, we were at his mercy. Night fell, and we knew he would attack at dawn, and that would be it. But just then, Providence put an idea in my mind.
Did you set some kind of trap?
You could say so. Unobserved, I mounted my horse and set off to find help. And, La Dame Chance was exceedingly kind to me that day. As I rode away, by chance, I stepped it off of our horses. Thinking we were trying to break through, Les Anglais went to head them off. But while the English were occupied with my city, our units managed to flee. I saved many men from certain death that night, and many lords from the disgrace of capture. Needless to say, I was generously rewarded for my valor.
That is indeed incredible. But you were just trying to flee, weren't you?
I wanted to bring reinforcements, but as I say, I merely follow Providence, and she guides my steps from triumph to triumph, wherever I go. Stick close to me, Henri, and Providence will favor you too.
How did you save the King of France?
With Providence as my guide, mon ami, I came to the court from the field of battle to bring news of our victory, because, and remember this, the bearer of good news is always rewarded and cherished. But the king was in a bad mood and did not wish to be disturbed. Maybe I thought the news of our victory will dispel his ill humor.
How could you tell him if he didn't want to be disturbed?
Ha! I climbed up to his balcony and into his chambers to surprise him with the joyful tidings. And lo and behold, the king was writhing and gasping on the floor, overcome by one of his fits. Wasting not a moment, I dashed over to him and unblocked his throat, thus saving his life. In return, the king bestowed on me the title of Fée Chanson, or cupbearer, and other generous gifts. And I then spent a while in his service at court. Unfortunately, though, even the king's favor does not last forever, and minor mistakes can come to overshadow good deeds.
What happened at court that led to you being out of favor?
Well, perhaps I shall tell you some other time. Would you not rather hear about the glorious duel between Le Gris and Carouge?
Tell me what happened at court that caused you to lose favor.
Ah, a major setback and a gross injustice, mon ami. It is an unhappy memory, because it was the first time that La Dame Chance abandoned me.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. We can all learn from our failures. And I bet even your failures make for great stories.
Oui, that is certainly true. Very well then. I suffered a combination of misfortunes all at once. But bad luck in business and on a hunt were the worst of all.
You were in business?
Of course. I come from Brabant province, home to the greatest entrepreneur of all. My birthplace gave me an unrivaled nose for coin and the reputation of a financial expert. I was nicknamed the Seer of Louvain, and also the End of Midas. That is, until I persuaded an important nobleman to invest a large sum in maritime trade with Africa. All the ships he bought sank in a tempest. He had to sell off part of his estates to pay off his creditors. Of course, he wrongly blamed me for everything and turned many influential courtiers against me. But my advice was sound. He was simply punished by God for fornicating with every wench from the Pyrenees to Brittany, bragging about it and thus bringing shame on his gentle wife. I told him as much, but some people never admit their mistakes and prefer to blame others.
A sea voyage from France to Africa? You must have known that was a massive risk.
A risk, perhaps. But think of the fortune to be made. A man must think big if he wants to achieve greatness, no?
Big ideas often lead to big trouble. Storms, pirates, sea monsters, uncharted waters. It was a disaster waiting to happen, Baron. You should have tried the Baltic trade route.
You are right. That would have been safer. But that is under Hanseatic control and there is too much competition. Africa, mon ami, that is the land of opportunity. The Arabs sell to the Portuguese via Ceuta and they sell on to us. Just imagine selling further and trading directly with African kings. Cutting out all of those middlemen. Remember this, because one day I will be proven right.
I mean, like, yeah, he pretty much was proven right.
Hey, where's that beer?
What was the hunting incident?
We were out in the royal hunting grounds when I caught sight of a white stag. There had long been rumors about it, so imagine the prestige I would have gained by getting it. I set off after it, pierced its flank with arrows, and unleashed the hounds to finish it off. When I arrived, it turned out that my aunt had not killed a stag but the horse of a lady, a court favorite of the queen's. I fell out of her favor, and all the doors became closed to me.
I mean, honestly, that is a problem with hunting. I don't know if y'all have hunted before, but it's a known thing with hunters that, like, when you're hunting for something, everything looks like that thing. And it's especially dangerous in turkey hunting. Turkey hunting is like one of the most dangerous hunting activities because, yeah, you're out in the woods, often with a bunch of other dudes, and, yeah, gobble gobble, rustle in the bushes, and, you know, you think it's a turkey, you know, very often it's another hunter.
You were damned unlucky. That could have happened to anyone, couldn't it?
Quite right. I'm glad you are sensible enough to agree with me. A misfortune like that, which could indeed happen to anyone, would make lesser men roll with laughter. But the other lords were afraid I would outshine them, so they were waiting for a chance to get rid of me. And that chance came along, unfortunately.
Luckery and Cargouche. Sounds like a pair of jesters.
En aucun cas. Jacques le Gris and Jean de Carouge. These two great knights were in a legal dispute over an estate. But above all, when de Carouge was on a campaign, Le Gris fornicated with his wife. She claimed that he had raped her, while he said he had seduced him. And because everyone swore to their own truth on the Bible, the matter had to be settled by combat. First, they jousted. Then they fought on foot with sword and axe. Le Gris thought victory was in his grasp, but de Carouge suddenly pounced on him, wrested him to the ground, and beat him so terribly that he knocked off his helmet and cuirass. Even so, Le Gris refused to admit his guilt, and de Carouge drove a dagger through his neck. And if you promise not to tell, I will let you into a secret about that dagger.
Tell me the secret. I promise I'll keep it to myself.
Bien. As I say, de Carouge killed Le Gris with a dagger. And I found that dagger in the mud after the duel. A blessed blade, an instrument of divine justice. The dagger that ended the last trial by combat France ever witnessed. An item of great value. So, I had several copies made and sold them to rich French noblemen.
That's hilarious. That's actually
That
pretty
is
good.
how I
This
first
game,
came into it.
I
And
want
I used the
to
coin
criticize
to buy
it,
the horse and
but
armor I needed.
no, I
to
mean
set off in
the
pursuit of glory in
screenwriting
battle.
is just fantastic.
Ah, that was a good idea. I'd never have thought of that.
You still have a lot to learn, mon ami. But you're young, you have plenty of time. Just keep your mind and eyes open, like I did. It was one of the greatest things I ever saw, and I have seen a lot. Believe me, half of France came to watch, including the king himself, who then banned trial by combat in France forever. I later told the story to anyone who was interested, One of my listeners, a certain Froissart, wrote my icon down and became famous. I could have written it myself, of course, but I am happy to help others find success.
Tell me about Brabant province. Is it far from here?
Quite far. From Bohemia, you would go to Bamberg and then follow the river Main until it joins the Rhone. Then you sail down the Rhone until it reaches the sea. And there, between the river and La Flandre, you will find Brabant, with its wealthy cities. Anvers, Bruxelles, Louvain, and many others. But those three cities are the equal of Paris, Rome, or your Prague. Both the Dukes of Burgundy and the Imperial Princes would like to annex our land to theirs, because its flourishing trade has made it rich. But like everywhere else, you can only come into wealth by birth or by enterprise, which is how I did it.
How did you end up here?
Leaving the court with a modest sum, I launched to visit faraway lands. I traveled a lot, spending time in various countries, and having many great adventures. When I learned that l'Empereur Charles, that great friend of France, had built the magnificent city of Prague in Bohème, I had to see it.
So people in foreign countries speak highly of Prague?
Bien sûr. It was abroad that I heard of King Wenceslas' Silver City and its reputed vast wealth. I bought the abandoned Miskowitz estates and shares in the Kuttenberg mines. And for a time I settled here to provide for myself and wait for King Wenceslas, whom I wished to serve. But even here fate did not let me be. When Sigismund brought his army to the city, I appointed myself to lead its defense. For how better to make King Wenceslas aware of me than by saving his beloved city? Victory was assured, but the burghers had other ideas. The city was handed over to the enemy, and I with it, stripped of my possessions. I languished in captivity, until fate again stepped in by sending you to Malishov.
Sir Vaclin, I'm surprised how well you speak our language. Where did you learn it?
Where do you think? Here, of course. Ce n'était même pas difficile. Perhaps I have already mentioned that I am guided by Providence? She endowed me with many talents, mastery of language among them. I can communicate almost everywhere in the world, and learn every new tongue in a trice. I now speak French, German, Italian, Latin, Hungarian, and Czech. Some English, though that is only a necessary evil.
Thanks for sharing your stories with me, Sir Vaclin. What do you think of our band of outcasts?
Well, I cannot say I expected to end up in this kind of company. I am more used to royal courts, or at least wealthy burghers. But a man must accept his destiny as it comes.
What do you think of Zizka?
The Chevalier Jan? Well, he's not doing badly for a minor nobleman, but I think he will never be accepted among the higher nobles and knights. That takes a lot more. Mark my words. I am a good judge of people.
What do you think of Sir Hinnek?
Ah, le diable sec. A capable chevalier, but I do not trust him. There is treachery in his eyes.
You think so?
My instinct rarely lets me down.
How do you get on with Janosch and Adder?
Oh, those two. Once in Kuttenberg, I also had a servant who pretended not to understand me and thought I did not understand him when he spoke German in my presence. But he was wrong. He is no longer my servant.
How do you get on with Sir Hans?
Oh, young Lord Chapon may be inexperienced and hot-headed at times, but he's one of the few here who knows how to play chess. And I have a great respect for chess players. Needless to say, he has not managed to beat me yet. Godwin and Zizka can also play. And that devil in press clothing beat me. Merde.
Have you met Godwin?
The priest who is very skilled with a sword. Priests should not be such good swordsmen. That is what knights like me are for. In addition, he can play chess just as well as he wields a sword. And in drinking wine, he beats even the best Frenchmen. A man of talents. Or perhaps the devil is behind it.
Have you had the chance to meet my half-brother yet?
Samuel. It is strange that he joined your... our group. It is not usual for his, people. But he's certainly a good reinforcement.
I can't get Catherine out of my head. I don't understand her. I'm sure you have more experience of love than me. What do you make?
But for my tastes, Mademoiselle Catherine is of somewhat aged vintage. Though, I have to admit she's full-bodied and fragrant.
Fragrant.
That's not really what I meant. Why is a woman like her with us?
Là est la question. I had the feeling something terrible happened to her in the past.
So do I. But what?
I have no idea. But she's fond of...
Oh, come on.
I am a good judge of...
What do you think of Kubyenka?
A good warrior. But he has no morals and no manners. Like all mercenaries.
Well, I don't think he cares much about that.
And that is just the problem. How can you trust a man who does not want to be a knight?
Tell me, how did the siege of Kuttenberg go?
Ah, mon ami, poorly, poorly. After all, I had to live up to my reputation. And at the time, it did not look hopeless at all. I thought it would be enough to stall Sigismund for a while before the Allied army arrived. And that would not have been so difficult.
Only no army arrived.
Précisément. The hope for a swift end melted away, and the courage of the burghers along with it. I, who fought in 5 countries, was relieved.
I heard your attack on the trebuchets was a disaster.
It is true, but that was not my fault. The Kuttenbergers blamed me to cover up their own failure. Ces connards. I made the correct decision, but I was given bad intelligence. The Kuttenberg spies that I sent out reported that the trebuchets weren't defended, but they were too cowardly to take a good look from up close. This tragedy would never have happened if it were not for their stupidity and lack of heart. But enough of that. There is no point. In the meantime, however, I can pass on some of my experience to you. After all, I am not getting any younger, so it is time to pass my wisdom on to future generations.
I'd like to learn.
It will take some time, and a few groschen, mon ami. Acquiring my art, especially now when I have been injustly stripped of my possessions. And I must, what would you like to...
All right.
As a knight, you must know how to fight with a polearm as well.
Certainement. But not with a halberd or some other farm
I'm streaming,
implement.
yeah.
Such things are good only for
I mean,
les
hold
Anglais.
up.
I would
All right, I'm
only
gonna
ever
go on
use
mute.
a proper poleaxe. 6 feet long, with a blade topped with a spike for piercing heavy armor. Only such a polearm is worthy of a knight, and I shall demonstrate why. Allons-y, mon ami. Let us not waste any time.
My respects. A jug of wine, thanks.
Good day.
Good day.
All right, beautiful people. I'm gonna pause the stream, come back in a bit. I have to feed my increasingly pregnant wife, who desires the sausage, and I shall give it to her. All right, back later, beautiful people.